The legislature convened the first week of January, and as expected, there were there were 667 bills introduced, which is about par for the course in a long session. This particular session is a 90-day working session. It started early January. It's slated to adjourn early June. So those 90 working days, this is the session where we set the biennial budget. They have to pass a budget, and probably no surprise to any of you. It's been in the papers and in the news in many regards, but the legislature is going into session with a projected $911 million shortfall in the revenue that was anticipated. So they have some budget issues. Want to make sure that you're aware of that, but what we're working on, the portfolio of bills designed to solve a great deal of the property tax problems that we have. They are all structured in a way, the ones that we're supporting, they're all structured in a way to be revenue neutral. And that's a very important concept that I want to make sure that all of you understand, is that when we say revenue neutral, what we're working on is rebalancing the responsibility for paying for all of the priorities that our state and local governments have adopted. We're not trying to raise any of the aggregate taxes in the state, but property taxes is paying the lion's share. In fact, it's nearly 50% of paying for all of the state and local government that we have, and we are working on balancing the three-legged stool. Legislation had to be introduced in the first 10 working days of the session, so the deadline for all legislation was January 18th. Obviously that day has come and gone, and now committee hearings start. Every bill that's introduced in the legislature in Nebraska's unicameral gets a public hearing, so all 667 bills are referred to various committees. The committees that are going to have the lion's share of the bills to tax reform are going to be in the Revenue Committee and the Education Committee. A couple bills that we're working on and were introduced at our request will be in the Appropriations Committee as well, but that's where the bulk of the activity is going to take place. There are some things going on, and this isn't to diminish the importance of a lot of other issues that we'll be talking about in future webinars, but the lion's share of property tax and how we fund education and other local services, well, and state government are going to be in those particular committees. Jumping into actual bills introduced, we tried to put these together, the ones that are looking primarily at property tax relief or reform. There's a couple bills that have been introduced that would create an internet sales tax. We support that bill. It is not in the bill LB 44 that this money would be directed to the Property Tax Credit Fund. That's something we're going to be working on. With a lot of these bills that generate new revenue, and most of it, if not all of it, is in the sales tax arena, where we would be shifting the balance of responsibility away from property tax owners to sales tax, and obviously all of the consumers in the state would be paying some share of that, but the intent is to balance the responsibility on a three-legged stool concept, which is a third of government is paid for from property tax, a third from income tax, and a third from sales tax. There's nothing written in stone that that's the way it has to be anywhere, but that is the agenda and the goal for us. Many subscribe to that until the real hard work gets in place in the legislature, and then they find reasons to maybe stray away from that a little bit. Senator Breezy, new senator from Ord, has introduced two very ambitious bills to help us with property tax reform, LB 312 and 313. LB 312 eliminates sales tax exemptions on several services, and we will have bill summaries that will be up on our website. They'll be posted on Voter Voice and other means for you to get more extensive explanations of these bills. But it does not eliminate any sales tax exemptions that benefit agriculture. And that's a very important point. We also get some pushback politically. They're saying, well, ag hasn't put anything on the table in these sales tax exemption eliminations. Well, when ag is already paying the lion's share of the government responsibility through property taxes, plus all the income taxes and sales tax that you're already paying, we put a lot on the table, and we'll talk a little bit about how some of the political dynamics play out there.